What's up, Blade fam? So are you experiencing fear while skating? Maybe fear of dropping in, fear of learning a new trick, fear of a handrail, or ultimately the fear of falling. I think in this sport and in life in general, we all experience some sort of fear. So I wanted to cover some of the techniques that I've researched or that I use myself that have helped me conquer my fear. Now, by no means have I dropped ridiculous hammers. You know, I've done drop rails, kink rails, I've jumped fairly large gaps, and I've had to work through the process of fear. Now, in MMA, they teach you that when you're experiencing fear, to breathe into your fear. So when you start getting all anxious or you're unsure and that adrenaline burger starts pumping in, you're getting that cold sweat, you don't, all of a sudden all that confidence you had the night before while you were thinking of what you were gonna do goes right out the window and you start contemplating whether or not it's worth it. So breathing is one of the first things that I would strongly recommend. Taking nice deep breaths into your diaphragm, so not really in your chest. Science shows that when you breathe shallow or when you're experiencing fear or anxiety, the breath tends to stay really high up here, which actually releases more cortisol, which causes you to stress out even more. So by breathing deeply into your diaphragm, you kind of calm yourself down. Or the next thing that I would strongly recommend is getting associated with what it is you're afraid of. So identifying it. Like when I was skating this drop rail, now, I've sessioned this drop rail before. I had done top sole, top acid, some of my go-to tricks. But the idea of throwing my back to that rail and doing an alley-oop trick, it really messed me up. Like, I set a goal to do this trick and I wanted to do it, but I kept feeling that feeling. So what I did was I went up to the rail and I thought of all the times. So I rehearsed over and over how many times I've landed that trick and brought my confidence back to knowing, bringing that knowing to the obstacle that I was experiencing. I've practiced this trick for years. I know I'm confident in it. I also had a really great community with me that day. I had some friends there. I felt secure in the experience because I knew I was gonna be okay. Even if I did ultimately fall or get hurt or miss my trick, that there was gonna be others there to help me through that process if it happened. So getting associated with the fear. If it's something like dropping in or just the fear of falling, you can practice building up your confidence in that process. So, you know, dropping in on a 3-foot ramp, a 4-foot ramp, a 6-foot, an 8-foot, and now you're ready and you're looking down at a vert wall of 15 feet and you rehearse that in your mind. You say, you know, I've done this already, and you let go to that process. Another really good tip that I've practiced is counting backwards. Something happens. So when you're experiencing fear, the reason why, I believe, is because the mind or the brain's whole job is to preserve the integrity of the individual. It's not doing its job if it's allowing you to just throw it to the whim. So it's really there as a protecting mechanism. And what I do is I count backwards. So say I'm about to do this rail. It's gonna be my first jump. I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna land it, but I've practiced this trick over and over. I've rehearsed it. I've breathed myself back into this reality and not getting all up in my head. And now I am ready to let go. There has to come a point where you have to really just trust yourself. And I think that comes in with practice. The longer you skated or the more experience you've acquired, you begin to have this self-belief. I've been blessed to be able to skate with some really good skaters, and all of them have told me the secret is to skate it like you're not gonna miss. just get it right the first time, jump right, stay right. You have to have this this little edge of confidence that it's gonna be right. Science has shown is that if you are afraid of falling, you're probably going to fall because you're focused on the fall. And that's a really tricky thing to do, you know, when you're at an obstacle and it's intimidating and you're unsure and your brain is showing you everything that is gonna go wrong. Like, hey man, there's this crack here, there's those stairs there's a big drop here, or it's a very big drop in, or things of that nature. You're focused on the fall. You're not focused on what you're going to do. And so what I practice also is first counting backwards. So 5, 4, 3. As I get into my 3s, 2s, and 1s, I start remembering all the times that I've landed it or exactly what I need to do. I just zone in on that target and I let go to that experience. And that's when you're really alive, you know, when we do or practice the things and we stay in the same parks or we stay in the same patterns and we do the same things over and over again, you're not necessarily creating anymore. You're kind of in this habitual pattern. But when you let go to that new experience, you're growing. Whether you fall, miss, kind of get it, it looks a little shaky, or you land it, you're growing. And that's the experience that I'm really trying to convey over to you guys. The fear is there to protect you. So there's nothing wrong with experiencing it. But make that effort to step forward into that fear. There's a saying that I had in one of my other videos that I've just held on to, and it's leaning into your fear. Leaning into that fear. Because as you do that, you're kind of surrendering to life itself or to whatever you believe in. It's this beautiful process. But when you lean away from what you're afraid of, you're leaning into something else, you know, and that tends to put you into an awkward or a bad position on the obstacle that you're skating. Another thing that I've been practicing now for about a year and almost 2 years now, it's been different variations of it, is ice baths and cold showers. Now, what the heck does ice bathing and cold showers have to do with skating? It really doesn't have anything to do with skating, but it has a lot to do with conditioning your mind to do what you're afraid of. I've yet to come across an individual that loves to take cold showers or loves to take ice baths. They're like, yeah, dude, I do that on the regular. And it's because we have this thing, like everybody's afraid of cold water. And so every day for the last year, I've been taking cold showers. And every time that experience is there. I turn on the shower and I'm standing on the edge of the water and I don't want to go in. So just like that, I'm at an obstacle. I'm ready to skate this obstacle, but I'm unsure if I want to do that obstacle and actually follow through with what I set. So by doing this cold shower thing, I've noticed my hesitation in doing things has come down significantly. I see it. I practice it. I visualize as I'm standing on the edge of the shower. It's cold, it's uncomfortable. I don't want to do it, but I count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, and jump in. And so by conditioning my mind every day in this process, it then manifests in my skating. All right, I'm here. I know I set out to do this trick. I don't know if I'm gonna land it. I know it's gonna be uncomfortable if I fall. 5, 4, 3, 2. So leave a comment below if you've done any of these things or if you have a secret technique that you do to conquer your fear while skating. Quick recap of the things that I do. So the first thing I do is breathe. I take 3 deep conscious breaths. The second thing I do is I begin to associate myself with the obstacle and the trick that I have practiced over and over again, getting that confidence in the trick. The third thing I do is let go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and enjoy the process. Another thing that I strongly recommend whenever you're experiencing fear is to put pads on. You know, that will help you feel a little more confident. You know, throw a helmet on, put on your elbow pads, your knee pads. For a while there, I was wearing a G-form chest and torso protector. I'd taken a fall off of a kink rail and I had fractured some ribs off of my back here, and that messed me up mentally because that day I was skating extremely confident. I had this willingness in me. I was ready, and taking a fall when I was in that state really messed me up. It messed me up for years because for one whole year as this rib was healing, every time I was taking deep breaths or laughing with my friends or out skating, I would experience sharp pains in my chest and in my ribs or my intercostal muscles. So I had suffered nerve damage in my intercostal muscles, and it just messed me up. It took a lot of my gulliness away. So I wore that chest pad every time I was out skating. I had this little G-form rib guard on, and it helped. You know, I still had to get over these mental processes, but know that you're not alone in the experience of fear, that all of us have it. The best skaters in the world have mastered something to get over that. And I think it might be these techniques. It might be the confidence that they've built on doing these tricks on different obstacles over and over and over. And the more you practice, the more you know you're gonna land it. And that's it, you know? So leave a comment below. Let me know if you've experienced fear and how you've conquered it. Give me a thumbs up if these steps have helped you or you're gonna try these steps. I just wanted to do a really simple video here. It's 20 degrees outside and I can't skate, but I wanted to give something that I've had a lot of comments on. You know, I've had comments of people asking, dude, what do you do about fears, like fear of falling or fear of this and that? And I think it's just practice, you know, practice these different things. Later on, I'm gonna be doing workouts showing you what I do to strengthen myself or my ability to catch falls. So that's another thing you can do. Exercise. Having a strong body also gives your mind like this knowing that you're gonna be strong enough to withstand whatever's gonna happen. All right, so till next time, keep the blade alive, conquer those fears, and go do what you love. Aloha.